I would get up in the morning, hit my bong, wouldn't even grab a cigarette because I'm a smoker. I'd hit my bong, take a couple hits off the bong, get up, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, do the normal thing, and then sit down and smoke again. And then usually I started getting phone calls with people that want things because I sold things. So my day started off when I got up in the morning into people wanting drugs.
So before you even get out of bed, you would be hitting your bong.
Oh yeah, I would hit my bong before I grabbed a cigarette.
You don't mean weed?
No, I mean meth.
That was your drug of choice?
That was my drug of choice.
Okay.
I mean, I literally, my cigarettes were down on the table, my bong would be sitting up next to my bed because I lived in my RV, and I would grab my bong and hit my bong a couple times before I even got up. Then get up, go to the bathroom, then I'd light the cigarette and make coffee and start getting ready for the day because, you know, and my day didn't start at 7 o'clock in the morning because I didn't go to bed until 5 o'clock in the morning. But I'd wake up at like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and that made my day would start, you know, going that way, and start getting ready. While I continued to smoke because I always had a bong around because I always had drugs around. I always had meth around. And then people would start calling, or they'd come over and knock on my door, and then that's how my day proceeded. And then if I had things going on that day, I'd do my appointments. But it totally revolved around drugs when I got up in the morning.
So, how was it living in an RV?
Sucked.
It sucked.
Well, I wasn't my own home. I mean, it was mobile because I wasn't registered. We were trying to get it registered. I was trying to get it registered, but I didn't have any money because I didn't make millions off of selling drugs. I made enough to support my habit and get things, pay for my phone and things like that. So I was trying to get it registered, but because I hadn't had it registered, I didn't have a license. You know, we had to pay attention where I was staying at, and there were places I stayed at for a while. I stayed at AMC movie theater for a couple months.
So that sounds exhausting,
yes,
having to worry about
the cops
where
coming.
you're going to park.
Exactly.
So,
and it had to be in a public parking because you can't park on the road because it's not registered. So they'd come and tow me.
and it sounds like you were taking a lot of risks by selling the drugs.
Oh yeah.
So, what did that take from you?
I was careful, I guess. I only sold it to people that I knew. Not that nothing was right, but I only sold it to people I knew. If they wanted to sell it, then I sold them larger amounts, and then they go sell it off to their friends. But who knows what their friends would say? Because in the end, they knew I had it. I had people come up to me. I mean, 6 months ago, people come up to me in the store and ask me if I was working, and I was nice and strong and saying, "No, I'm sober."
So, did you ever get caught?
I got caught with other people with me. Both times when I got caught.
What kind of charges did you catch?
Distribution.
You got distribution of?
Yep, methamphetamine. I got caught, and this last time around, in January, I got caught with distribution. And the drugs union on me, but they looked at my past because I had a past distribution and manufacturing in 17. So they pulled my name up and they just see drugs. So I got caught in January with distribution, and then I got caught again in February with another distribution and another felony, and I don't remember what the other felony was, a felony possession case with the distribution case in February, and that's what made me go to jail. And it was then that I was ready. And I had been saying for a long time that I wanted to quit, but you know, you're never gonna do it unless something, when I got arrested, I wasn't happy that I got arrested, but I was happy that I got arrested because it was my out.
So you were relieved that lifestyle was over. You
Yep.
didn't have to sustain that type of.
I didn't have to worry about making people happy. I didn't, both times I got caught with my ex-boyfriend. He got piddly probation charges. I mean, they dropped his stuff down to nothing and hit me with the felony distribution, manufacturing distribution charges and the possession charges.
So getting those charges actually is what inspired you to
Yes.
get sober.
Yeah.
So then, tell me about your sobriety journey. How did that start for you?
I'm in jail. I knew I was going to be sober, and I knew I was going to be in jail for a while because I was going to fight the tickets at first, and then I decided not to fight the tickets. I immediately went to the doctors and said I need to be put back on my medication because I did meth. I didn't need meds. That was my medication. So when I went to jail, I immediately went and said I need to be put back on my meds. And I was put on Suboxone because I was always on a meth class because I had done meth or blues in the past. Not on a regular, but enough to make me have to go through withdrawals. So I got put on Suboxone, and I started getting put on my antidepressants. And then I sat in jail. I was gonna fight the ticket, and 3 days before I was go to trial or go to court. They told me I'd get 24 years because they were gonna throw the bitch at me because is even my third distribution charge for the same drug, even though one was in 17, these two were January, February, and I gave a name. I gave a name that somebody had ripped something out, a friend of mine off for $3,000 and stole from me and beat his girlfriend. And I was like, you know what? I will show you where he lives. And because I did that, they just offered me drug court.
Okay, and that drug court has been.
Yeah.
How has that been? Like,
I
how was that?
I was only in drug court for 2 months.
Okay.
I went to court 2 days later, and I opted on the drug. I took the charge of the drug court, and they put me in work release. And I was in work release for a couple months, and doing fine in drug court. I didn't have a problem with them at all. That's when I met you, and I started getting into abundance. And you are the reasoning on why I would become a peer specialist. Just because of everything that we did together with coming here and all you guys just meeting everybody. I knew I wanted to do that.
Coming here? Like, tell
That we
us
started,
tell
like-
us what kind of stuff you would do with abundance.
With Abundance, I came to Genesis Project, and all the programs that we had, especially back in the springtime when I was in work release. That's when we did the bowling, and I think that's where I signed up with Elise. And when we did a bowling. But any project that work release would let me go to, because they wouldn't let me go to a lot of places. They wouldn't even let me go to church. So there was a big struggle with them. They wouldn't even let me get a job while I was there. They never allowed me to do that. But as soon as I got out and got into sober living, which didn't last that long, I continued to do stuff with you guys. I was in church more often, and I went to church a lot. And now I go to Bible study, and I go to Amee all the time. I go at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. They do a lot of encouragement, a lot of stuff that has to be around abundance. But you guys were my whole thing on wanting to become a peer specialist. And I'm in wellness court. I just went to phase 3 yesterday.
Congratulations.
So yeah, I graduate in October.
That's
So I actually will be graduating a month early because I'm doing very well.
Yes.
And wellness court. So it's just been a process of being able to get a job, and it's been a work. And you guys are the ones that I look up to, and when anything goes on, I have abundance behind it. And so. And I got my peer specialist. I'm just waiting for the certificate to come in the mail. It should be here hopefully next week. And I was offered a job at Peer Connect in Loveland. It's not where I want to be, but it's a place where I can go to start getting experience. I'd like to get into avenues. I know your company, it's got to be like 2 years for abundance. But avenues, I think it's only got to be a year for sobriety. Even Summit Stone, I like the possibility of I can go to Longview and work on it in the house units, or even in the rehabilitation units at Avenues. So that's, I like doing stuff like that. I was a CNA for 18 years. So I started a new resume and got my medical, I'm getting my medical that Spirit Crossing is helping with it. So it's like, I have more oomph to want to do things. I think before when I was using drugs and dealing with them and stuff like that, everything just kind of pushed aside. I never made plans. It wasn't, I make plans for that weekend. Now I have things I want to plan for next year. I'm looking ahead of myself. Things are getting done. I did all my classes for my license. I just need a car. I can go get my license. I've done my classes. I already paid the restitution. I paid that in 17. It's like things that I do now, I never would have done 2 years ago. I would always need an excuse. It would have been one reason, and I didn't do that because of this. And now it's like, I'm doing it. It's not going as fast as I want it, but I don't think God meant it to go as fast as I want it, because He wants it to stick. So, I do everything. I'm either at work, which I don't work that many hours, but I'm offered to go to work all the time, and I'm in wellness. So we have to go over there so many times a week, and then I go here on Fridays, which is nice. I'm right around the corner, and I go to Hope Shot a lot, a couple times a week. So I keep myself very active, keep myself going. I'm trying to work on a relationship with my family. My boys, I got back. My daughter's back in the United States, but she's still not talking to me. She texted me about a month or so ago and told me she wasn't ready yet. So at first I couldn't understand. But then I got to thinking about it. I quit before. When I was in prison, I quit. And she was starting to come around and starting to talk to me, write letters, and then I started doing drugs again. So this time, I think she's just doing the whole, I don't want this to be another circle again. So I backed off and understand, and it's going to be a while, maybe a couple more years, but I see future and everything.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, what kind of plans do you have? And I know I've seen you make strides to do everything that you've made goals of. You
Right.
finished it. And it's been one barrier after another, and you've just overcome
Yeah.
and you've pushed through, and your endurance and tenacity to choose recovery has just been really inspiring.
Yeah.
So what kind of clean date
Determination.
are we looking at now? Like, what is today?
Today is February 20th. My 1 year was February 10th.
So you're picking up your wins.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a huge accomplishment.
Oh yeah. I was excited. I phased up yesterday, which I was supposed to phase up last week, but the UA came back positive for alcohol, which I don't drink, but I use sanitizer at my work, and I've had like 7 of them. But it always comes back negative, but I was upset last week because I was supposed to phase up last week, and they made me wait for confirmation. And then I went back this week because they all knew, and they actually apologized to me, so I phased up, but it's like I tried so hard to getting the things done that I said I wanted to do, and it's happening.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing. If there's one thing that you could tell the addict out there who's just getting started, what would it be?
It's not easy, but it's worth it.
I'm so proud of you.
It can happen. It could happen if you wanted to. You can't force anybody to be clean.
Good job.